You're about to see why a $28 burger can be a better deal than a $26 one. The price-to-value trap is real at steakhouses, and it's draining your wallet with average bites. Let's start with the extremes. A dry-aged, hand-formed patty blasted under a 1,200 degrees broiler versus a solid but conflicted premium pick that leaves diners divided. By the end, you'll know exactly which techniques are worth paying for, and which menus are banking on their name, not your satisfaction. What if the highest price on the burger line isn't the scam, and the cheaper premium is where your value leaks? Steakhouses frame burgers like mini steaks, tag them near entree money, then let the name do the heavy lifting. The truth is, you're not paying for toppings, you're paying for control or the lack of it. Let's start with two outcomes in the same price lane. One sparks those wide-eye reactions you only get when the beef hits you with real depth. The other gets polite nods and a quiet shrug on the walk to the car. Same dollars, different return. The real kicker is production control. When the house grinds fresh from dry-aged trimmings the same day, forms patties by hand, sets them on a bun built to handle juice, and finishes under a roaring, steak-class broiler, your bite changes. You get that crackling crust that doesn't crumble, the beef aroma that hits before the first chew, and a center that stays plush instead of mealy. You can't fake that with branded ketchup and a fancy knife. Think of it like cars. A tuned engine and a stock model both get you to work. Only one makes you want the long route home. A burger with a focused grind and proper heat sings in the same way. Clean ignition, steady torque, no lag, no rattle. Here's the technique stack that actually moves the needle. Dry aging strips water and packs flavor, so the beef tastes louder without extra salt. Hand-formed patties keep a looser structure, so juice stays put and the bite feels like meat, not a puck. High heat builds a brown wall, Maillard crust, that locks in beefiness and gives you those roasted notes you expect from a steakhouse. Add a bun with a strong crumb, a little sweetness, and a wide crown, and the sandwich stays intact through the last third instead of sliding into a napkin. Now the paradox you run into at the famous spots. The label promises prime beef and a screaming broiler, and you do get both. But when the grind is generic, the patty is pressed flat on the line, and the bun is more show than structure, the result tastes like a well-dressed regular burger. Expectations soar. The bite lands in the middle. That gap is where guests split. Half swear it's great, half wonder why it felt safe and staged. Price is a decoy. Technique is the currency. If the kitchen controls the grind, forms to order, seasons with intent, and fires with serious heat, you're $20-something by real results. If the brand coasts on name, you fund marketing, not flavor. So here's the mini payoff you can use tonight. Don't chase the logo, chase the process. Ask about the grind, the broiler, the bun. If they can answer in plain words, you're in better hands. Now let's move on to the cheaper burgers that punch way above their weight when the fundamentals are tight. What if the steakhouse flavor you want sits at the chain you pass on the way to the pricey sign out front? The real kicker is that the value picks can taste closer to a ribeye than the premium burger that drains your tab. Let's start with Longhorn's LH Burger. Reviewers keep calling out the beefiness, and there's a reason. They grind sirloin for it, hit it with their steak seasoning, then cook it on the same grill as the steaks. That stack is simple, but it lines up. Sirloin brings a leaner cut with a clean, firm chew. The steak rub wakes it up without masking the meat. The steak grill runs hot and steady, so you get a firm sear and those dark lines that add roasted notes. You're paying mid-tier money, but the bite points north. Now swing to Texas Roadhouse's Smokehouse Burger. This one plays bigger by design. A half-pound patty lays the base. Tangy barbecue sauce adds pop. Thick bacon brings salt and smoke. Cheese ties it together. Onion rings drop crunch and a little sweetness. That contrast isn't an accident. Soft and crisp, savory and sweet. Sticky sauce against a salty crust. It reads larger than the price because each layer has a job. Here's where operations make flavor. Some chains run burger training that lasts weeks. Not glamour work, station flow, build order, melt timing, handoff speed. On paper, boring. On the plate, it's the difference between a bun that holds and a bun that bleeds. Uniform assembly means the patty doesn't slide, the sauce sits where it should, and the cheese hits that soft edge between slice and sauce. A cook can repeat that at lunch rush without guessing. That's value you can taste. Think of it like high school ball. The well-drilled team runs set plays, boxes out, and wins by 10. The all-star roster shows up with talent but no plan and throws the ball away. Chains that drill the basics beat fancier names that wing it on vibe. Consistency is the quiet hero here. Predictable seasoning, same grind, clean grill marks that aren't just for show, and cheese that melts on tempo rather than drowning the patty. Buns matter too. A tight crumb with a touch of sweetness stands up to fat and sauce without turning soggy by the third bite. When the build holds, you taste the beef, not the mess. So the payoff is simple. When the fundamentals line up, fresh grind, steak-level seasoning, hot grill, disciplined assembly, you get steakhouse flavor at fast casual prices. Your wallet stays calm, and your bite still lands heavy. But not every premium burger swings like this. Some miss by leaning on shine, not structure. A famous name, a tall stack, a fancy bun, and then a flat sear or a loose station turns it into a dressed-up standard. That's where value slips, and that's where we start asking harder questions. Big names charge more and still hand you a meh. That's the prestige trap. You see the logo, you trust the beef, and you end up paying extra for a result that feels staged. The truth is, famous sourcing and a hot broiler don't fix weak execution or thin access. Let's start with a case that looks strong on paper. Fleming's puts real prime into a hand-formed patty and builds the stack with care. It eats like a serious burger. But here's the rub: access. When the locations are limited, the practical value for you drops. If you can't get it without a drive and a reservation window, that great option is a niche promise, not an everyday win. Now the brand with the dry aging reputation. Expectations spike the second you sit down. You want that focused, steak-level beef hit. What you sometimes get is a grind that leans like leftover trimmings. Beefy, sure, but not tuned. It lands flat because the mix isn't built for the burger, it's built for the status. That gap between the name and the bite is where value leaks. Outback shows the other side. Good ideas, erratic follow-through. The bloomin' burger can sing when the seasoning is balanced and the cook nails the temp. But the same burger at another spot turns underseasoned with sloppy build. That's not a recipe problem. That's control slipping from the line to the diner. You pay for the promise, then roll the dice on who's on the grill. Why does this happen? Operations, not mystery. Supplier variability changes fat ratios and grind texture from one store to the next, so one patty sears clean while another steams. Staffing churn puts a rookie on the station, so salt hits late or dense, and the sear is pale. Loose station controls mean buns sit in steam, sauces spread wide, and the bottom half turns soggy by bite 4. None of that shows on the menu, but it shows up in your hands. It's like buying tickets for the headliner and getting their sound check. Same stage, same lights, none of the timing or punch. You leave knowing the parts are there, but the show never starts. Here's the mini payoff. Value dies when execution is a coin flip. You're not just buying beef, you're buying proof that the kitchen can repeat a result. Look for signs before you order. Clear seasoning standards, portion control that prevents puffed or thin edges, and visible technique. Hot sear marks that reach the rim, cheese melted to the lip, buns toasted to a dry touch, not a gloss. If the server can answer how the patty is ground and where it's cooked, you're closer to a sure thing. If the answers drift into brand lore, you're paying for vibes. Your $25 deserves more than vibes. It deserves a burger that holds form, hits with real beef, and stays crisp from top to heel. So how do you decide where your $25 goes before you order? Let's break the checklist. Pay for control, not the logo. Your money works when the patty comes from a dry-aged grind, is hand-formed, hits real high heat, and sits on a bun that stays firm. That stack turns dollars into flavor. If this gave you something to chew on, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves burgers but hates paying for hype. The hype is loud. Technique is louder. Next time you open the menu, run the checklist. Ask how the beef is ground, how it's cooked, and what holds it together. If the answers are clear and concrete, order. If they're vague, you probably skip.